everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Amazon FireSide Chat. So, you're probably wondering where we are and who this is. So, hello, everybody. I'm Anisha, as usual. And we are here live in Seattle from the Amazon Spheres. So, what you can see is the glass structure of the spheres. If you haven't seen the spheres before, definitely go check them out on Google Maps. And today I am joined, as usual, by Mario. Hey, Mario.
Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm super envious of you guys being in Seattle. I am in rainy London, even though today is actually a pretty decent day. So I think I'm actually having a better weather than you guys. Haha. But yeah, so awesome to see you guys there. Got them not to be able to be there with you. And I love that we have Giovanni as well. Giovanni, why don't you
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
Hello guys, hello. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be here in Amazon and here in the Amazon headquarters in the Sphere in Seattle. So yeah, I'm Giovanni. So another Italian in the team. Great. Yeah. I just joined Amazon as developer evangelist. So I hope to help you guys in using all the Amazon's API SDKs that we are giving to developers, and hope to have fun with this live streaming. Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you, Joe. We're super excited to have you.
Thank you.
And Anisha, why don't we do the honors for as usual?
As usual. So today we have a unique episode for you guys. So today we are doing a Ask Me Anything. So you've probably seen Ask Me Anythings before. Ours is specifically today about App Store and devices because that's our team. So if you have questions about AWS, we probably know just as much as you do. So we may not be able to answer them. But if you have all your pressing questions on App Store and devices, put them in the comments throughout the session. We're streaming to LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all the shebang. So no matter where you're watching from, please drop us your comments. Even if you just want to say hello to us. But yeah, before we start, a couple of things. So we are here every Tuesday, 6 o'clock GMT and 10 a.m. PST. It's actually quite nice doing Twitch in the morning. So we're obviously on PST time, and my jet lag means that I have already accomplished so much in the morning that I never usually do. So I can see where you guys join at 10 a.m. PST. So 10 a.m. PST, we will be here next week and the week after. So yeah, drop your questions for us in the chat. When you do, please just use respectful language. We want to create a great environment for everyone to feel comfortable. So make sure you do that. So yeah,
Awesome.
If there's nothing else, without further ado, should we jump right in?
Let's jump with the question.
Yes, I think we should. So, guys, again, one thing before we jump in the question that I want to call out, because we're live streaming on multiple channels, we can see directly the questions that are coming through to us from Twitch and from YouTube. For Twitter and LinkedIn, this doesn't propagate directly to us. We will keep an eye separately on it, but it might not be as immediate. So if you can drop your questions using YouTube or Twitch, that's preferable because we will be able to see it immediately. But if you're following us on the other platforms, please do post your questions, and we will try to jump on it as soon as we can. And we will drop the question on screen as well, so everyone can see it. And hello to everyone joining us as well. So I would say, why don't we jump in with the first question? So one thing that we did also, I would say, to break the ice is we went back to developers during the last couple of weeks, and we did ask some of the most frequently asked questions. So please, guys, put your questions in, but we can start with some of the questions that we got from developers. So the first question that we got was, and this is, I would say, fairly common question. My app performs well on other app stores, such as Google Play, and has tons of downloads and engagement. But on Amazon App Store, it doesn't get much traction. How can I get my app to be able at the top in search rankings and get more visibility with customers? So it's all about discoverability, right? What are the how can I get more eyeballs on my app? And there are a lot of things that you can do in order to make sure that your app shows up best on the Amazon App Store. And these, I would say, are probably best practices that are that do apply to other app stores as well, but I would say are particularly important for Amazon. So the first one is kind of obvious, and I would say is about your app description. So your app description shouldn't be too verbose. First of all, you should be going straight to the point and really highlighting what is special and unique of your application, and do that in a very in a very concise manner as well as possible. Like, there is this preconception of very long descriptions with a lot of information get a lot of traction. Is actually the opposite. Like, the leaner and cleaner your description is, the better is going to show up to customers. The other one is about imagery. One thing that we see from developers is that sometimes they publish their applications with only considering a few formats. So maybe they're considering phone or tablets, but maybe they have a version for TV and they don't add screenshots for that. They don't add promotional images as well for that. So one important thing is to make sure that you are covering the largest and vast and biggest amount of devices out there with your screenshots, and you use different resolutions as well, in a way that it does show up correctly independently on which device the user is using. And I would say the other thing is about targeting multiple devices as well. It is kind of normal for developers to have maybe one main version of their app and publish that, and then hope that it will target the biggest amount of devices. But one thing that you can actually do on the Amazon App Store is to go and check out with which devices your app is compatible. And if you realize that maybe there are some very popular maybe versions on Amazon devices or even third-party Android devices that are not targeted by your app, then you should go and take an action. Maybe sometimes it's about maybe making your app UI more responsive, more or maybe adapt to a different screen size. Let's say, for example, if you have a TV version as well, and make sure that you're covering the largest amount of devices out there. Like, if you do all these things, these are I would say it's probably the ABC of App Store optimization, but you would be surprised of like how many developers do like the bare minimum, and they hope that automatically the app will be discovered by customers. But guys, I don't know if you have anything to add or any any further suggestions.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we also have the live app tester, which lets you beta test your app with, a few set of select customers. And this is really good. So if you're testing new features, if you want to like get real feedback from real users, this is a great way to do that. And so you may be able to understand why there might not be, some or why there may be performance issues with real users. So definitely a good one to keep in mind, even if it's, just checking out a new feature. It's a great way to launch it to ensure that when you do go and release that version of your app, it is working on all the devices and platforms with real users.
That's great. That's great. So it's a better way to test the app before release. That's good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Should we jump to the next question?
Yeah. Again, guys, please add your questions in. We want to see those coming. Again, keep in mind that you can ask pretty much. I'm not saying anything you want. And if you ask me something about Amazon Prime, I don't know anything about Amazon Prime beyond that it's great. But but if it is about Amazon devices, if it is about Fire TV, Fire tablets, the new Windows 11 integration or monetization, or like there's so many things to be discussed. And again, we're all three of us are here to answer your questions. So please do add your questions. There by the way, there are no stupid questions or obvious questions. I love everything. Like we're here for you. So please do. But yeah, why don't we jump on meanwhile on the next one?
Awesome.
Next one.
Yeah. So we have a question. What are some of the best practices around monetization so my app gets more downloads and engagement? So I think the most important thing to keep in mind is to ensure that you pick the right monetization model for your app. So there are many, if it's a gaming app or if it's a media app or if it's an app that just kind of makes people's lives easier, there are different ways that you would want to monetize each of these apps. And we have many ways you can do this with Amazon. So first thing you could do is use in-app purchasing, so the in-app purchasing SDK, or what is now known as the App Store SDK, to integrate in Amazon in-app purchasing. And with that integration, there are definitely different things you can do. So you could have consumables, you could have entitlements, you could have subscriptions, and you can use these in what makes sense. So you can have a freemium model, which we have seen definitely drives more downloads than a paid for version, because if you're allowing like a free usage period, you're getting people to download your app and then they can pay for it later. So definitely a freemium model is a great way of doing it, and that is very easy to add when you're using subscriptions with the in-app purchasing API, also known as the App Store SDK. So that's a great way to do it. Another thing you could also do is consider Amazon advertising as a model for generating income from your app. And this is again another really easy API to integrate. We have a lot of documentation on the portal that shows you how to integrate the SDK and APIs for both in-app purchasing and for advertising. So we've done a Twitch session on this too, where we've gone really into depth about how you can actually add it to your app. There's many ways of creating that monetization. So what's best for your app is definitely the first place you should start. And you can do this in a number of ways. You can test it with users. You can test different versions of your app with different models of monetization. So yeah, I'll hand it over maybe to Gio and Mario if you have anything to add.
No, I mean nothing to add on this, but I think it's a really important things like having monetization on the app. So because for it's something that can do the project for a developer sustainable in the long term. So like earning some money, developing the app. So it's good that we are offering a lot of ways to keep that to provide developers this kind of this feature. So like the monetization. So what's your favorite monetization practice?
Good question. What is my favorite monetization practice? Well, I've worked quite a lot on the App Store SDK, and I think the upgrades with moving to the App Store SDK gives you a lot of benefits as a developer. So I definitely think if you haven't upgraded to the App Store SDK, definitely do so. You will find there's a lot of new things that you can do, and when eventually the IAP API is sunsetted, you will be making sure that you're using the latest and newest features of the App Store SDK.
That's great.
And to make sure you're up to date with things that are coming out, check out our blogs on the developer portal, and subscribe to our mailing lists.
Good.
We have the first question from the
Yeah.
audience. Thank you, guys. That was great. I highlighting this question from Jackie Gratz. I work for a TV channel, and our app cannot automatically be found in the search find bar. One has to scroll down to apps and games. Is there anything I can do to have the app show right after someone puts the name into the search find? First of all, thank you for the question. There are a few things that you can do, and also it depends where you are as well, because there are some functionalities for promotion and to increase discoverability that are right now available only in the US. And one of these is the so-called display advertisement for Fire TV. And it's I assume that we're talking about Fire TV here. We can cover tablets as well, but on Fire TV there is this opportunity where you can go on the developer portal. You need to be a registered developer, of course. It looks like you are already, which is great. Then you can then promote your application. You can put how much you want to spend, and this actually goes into a dedicated row, which is the promoted row. And that is actually in very at the top of the real estate on Fire TV. It's a great feature to boost visibility of your app if you can do paid advertisement. And the alternative is I would say that it is to optimize the as I said before, optimize the graphics. Like we do have a dedicated merchandising team in all the different locales where Amazon takes care of of Fire TV and the UI, and they tend to go and select content that is in particular when it comes to the visuals and the completeness of the description, that is something that can be posted and put in front of customers. So there is not really any like magic ASO app store optimization that you can do. But what you can do is to really optimize your experience on the Amazon App Store and the content that you're showcasing. The additional things that you can do from a feature perspective is to add things like recommended by your apps, for example. So recommended by your apps is a feature that is fully self-serve. Like you don't need any support from Amazon to integrate. Even if you're not directly an Amazon partner, you can take on this feature and just implement it in your Fire TV app. And the cool thing about recommended by your app is that it adds an additional row of content, which is a combination of content recommendations coming from multiple applications. And we actually have an entire set of videos on this and tutorials on it and documentation. So if you go on, maybe we can put the link afterwards. I'll go and search maybe as we answer the next question. We have actually an entire documentation that explains how to add that to a TV application. So with a combination of all these things, which is advertisement, optimizing your App Store presence, and also adding additional discoverability features that increase your presence on Fire TV real estate, you're increasing chance that developers will discover your content. There are deeper integrations as well, like catalog integration and things like VSK, the voice integration, but those tend to be available to selected partners for now. If you're interested in that, you can always reach out to us, and we can try to put you in contact with the right people at Amazon. Thank you again. Great question. There's another question from the audience. From Ang Chang. Hey Ang Chang, thank you for joining us today. Is there any way to generate app codes for promotion? I think that's actually a great prompt. I don't think that we have that feature. I assume it's like codes for promoting your own application, or maybe to get discounts. There are some additional features that you can do, maybe to add. It's not really promo codes, but it's more about maybe adding special prices for new customers to your subscriptions, or so the feature per se, we don't. And if you think it's important, that's a great prompt for us to go back to our product teams and bring it up. But I don't know if you guys have any other suggestion on app promotion codes or app codes for promotion.
Yeah, I definitely think using the freemium model we just spoke about, but you could also have, I mean, this is just me spitballing, but you can also maybe have different versions of your app for different customer groups. Sometimes that is something that developers do. I've seen it in the past, but again, if it is something, as Mario said, that you think would help make your experience better as a developer, for sure. Also, if you hear some hissing in the background, there's a lot of mist flying around. So the spheres at Amazon are also eco-forest, so lots of trees inside. So if you hear hissing, it's just mist coming out of the spheres to water the plants.
Exactly. We are waiting a lot for this mist because of this.
Yeah. So if we look shiny, that's also why too. Awesome. So we have a question about the review process. So I'll hand this one to Gio.
So great, thank you. So can you please provide more clarity about the app review and publication process? Nice, of the Amazon App Store. I sometimes feel like it's automated, and I'm only receiving responses from a bot. So great. I mean, obviously, it's there are some aspects about the Amazon App Store review that we cannot share. But I can say that it's like a mix between like a completely automated process and in person and a real person review process. We actually are preparing a good session about it. If I remember correctly, Nisha, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we are preparing a good session, a whole session about how this review process is working and what you as a developer can do to speed up this process, or to have all your app and resources ready for the review process. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Sure. And we also spoke about it last week. We did an entire session dedicated to, reviewing and the pre-submission App Store checklist. So
Yeah.
MAFO. So it's a checklist of things that you should ensure your app is doing or has integrated before you submit to the Amazon App Store to make sure that you're not hitting issues when you do submit. And in fact, our next session will be carrying on from this, which I will jump into at the end of the this stream. But definitely, we have a lot of information about what you can do to ensure that this review and publication process doesn't happen. But just
Great.
one of the things to note is that this review process isn't by bots. It's a
Mm.
combination of both automated and a real person reviewing your code. So we do have people who are like reviewing your code a lot of the time,
Yeah,
and
and
we do thorough hands-on testing.
yeah, thank you, Anisha. And if I can add one thing, I think that
Yeah.
is something that is very important at Amazon that we always say is
Mhm.
that the customer is at the center of the experience, right? They want to provide the great customer experience, and that is why we do have a review process in place. Uh, in the first place, in the sense that at the end,
Yeah.
it's about ensuring that customers on Amazon are having a great experience and that they're safe when using and downloading applications, and that there is no malicious content coming to them. So like compared to other app stores and other experiences where like you click a button and you immediately publish, Amazon does act as a little bit of a gatekeeper to make sure that the content, in particular if it is suspicious, it gets someone, you get actual eyeballs on it playing with the app. That's why sometimes it might feel like the Amazon review process is a bit slower than other places,
Mm.
is because we take maybe that extra step in being extra thorough, making sure that the content is up to standard. That's the main reason that we're doing it. I think we have another question from
Yeah.
the audience, from Adrian, that is asking, I have an app that allows the sharing of data as an email attachment, but when I tap the attachment I get a prompt that a file cannot be downloaded. Do Amazon allow custom an attachment file? Um, it's a great question. I think, like, my suspicion is that this is not really related to specific Amazon policies, but is related to Android permissions.
Mm.
Uh, it might be that it depends on which version of FireOS you're targeting as well, because the most recent versions of FireOS, like FireOS 7, is based on Android 9 Pie, and which like after Android Marshmallow, there was a lot of new permission requirements were introduced in Android, and they're increasingly stricter. So it might be that maybe your application is not requesting correctly the permission to access. It could be external storage, or maybe it's a specific read permission that your app is not it's not um, asking correctly. So my suggestion, I don't know if that is the problem. It sounds like a problem that's saying that it can be downloaded. It could be that, or it could be maybe a problem with the internal storage that I don't know. But it sounds to me like a permission problem. I don't know, Joe, Anisha, if you have other things that it could be.
Yeah, I'm more of the same idea of you, Mario. I think it's a more a permission problem. This more. Oh yeah, maybe. mm, I think maybe Adrian even can contact us later about, and we can support him. Like we can direct him to the right team, no?
Mhm.
To have.
Yeah, for sure. So one important thing is, and maybe we will share the link of that as
Mm.
well. We will actually do is, if you have a question, a pressing question, even beyond today, and we're here to try to answer yours. You can go on the Amazon developer portal. You need to have an Amazon developer account registered,
Yes.
and then you can reach out to the contact us session, and there is a dedicated team that will take your question in account, and we'll try to provide an answer. In particular, in this case, if there is a problem with an app that is currently live, I'm sure that they will jump on the problem as soon as they can. So we'll try
Yeah.
to get that one in. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. So next question.
Is there
Great.
any guidance, article, or tool to help developers know how to support more Amazon devices? I've submitted Android apps to Amazon only to find it does not support any Amazon tablets, and I'm not sure why. Great
Yeah.
question. So, I think the main thing to do is to make sure you check out the Amazon Fire tablet specifications to ensure that your app is being built to match the specifications as well. There could be some incompatibility issues that you may not have realized because of maybe a different Fire OS version that you were targeting or a different tablet you may have been targeting. But there's a great way to check which Fire tablet you are using from your app and to use user agent strings. So we did a dedicated session on designing great apps for Fire tablets, where we talk all of these things. We talk about all of these things about how to make sure that you are targeting the right application, or you are using user agent strings to make sure that you're getting back the right tablet that you are meant to be using. Mario,
Yeah,
did you
100%.
do you have
I just
something?
posted the link to the Fire tablet specification. I think that's a
Yeah.
great starting point. It's like first thing is like make sure that your app is compatible. Is what are the requirements? What are the like are you
Yeah.
targeting the right screen size? Are you right like what is the reason why a specific device is not targeted? Usually when it comes to tablets is it's a problem with the screen size or the resolution. It's like it might
Yes.
be that or a specific tag that you added to the manifest that is excluding tablets. Because usually the rule of thumb is the least information you include in your app, the highest is the number of devices that will be targeted. However, depending on which resources you're adding as well to your device, so to your app, it will the system will automatically detect if an app is compatible or not with the specific device and might or might not offer the app depending on that.
Yeah. And it's just making sure, say, if you're using qualifiers in your manifest, make sure that those qualifiers are, the Amazon recommended qualifiers. So you are targeting specific versions of tablets within those bucket
Yeah,
of qualifiers.
I
On
will
top on
post
this,
as
I want
well
to add.
the go
Oh,
on
sorry,
Joe.
Mario. Yeah, I mean, on top on this, I want to add that not only, I mean, a developer should consider to develop the app for the tablet as long as, I mean, it's allowed by the store with some configuration, but it's all, I mean, the developer should also consider how to create a beautiful experience for the user on a tablet. So in that time, I think you have some session like on YouTube already,
Yeah.
how to develop a good
Mhm.
application, good app for the tablet. No, this is, I mean, I suggest developers to go on
Yeah.
our YouTube
Yeah,
channel to check it out. Yeah.
and there are some things that I would say even us like for example I've been doing Android development for like
Yeah.
12 almost 13 years, and sometimes when I'm making a new app, maybe it's a sample app, maybe I forget to include maybe to consider configuration changes, but that happens all the time, right? Like you have to think about what is the app life cycle, what is the activity life cycle, like in tablets in particular they get moved and rotated all the time,
Mhm.
and you change it from landscape to portrait all the time. And the other thing to consider is that this has an impact on new configurations of apps. Like for example, now we're getting into desktop as well, and on Windows we had a session on this already when we're talking about how do you optimize applications for Windows 11, and your application needs to in this case like it's changing configuration all the time because it goes from windowed mode to full screen mode, and it can go maybe if you're on a Windows tablet it can go as well from
Mhm.
like portrait to landscape and be resized as well. So it can change. There are a lot of things to consider, and if you're building in particular a very basic application, sometimes you might forget about these things. So yeah, we have a lot of content on it, like you were saying, Joe, like YouTube videos and tutorials, and you should definitely check those out as
Yeah.
and all the docs as well.
Great.
Great.
We
Awesome.
have
Um,
Oh, great! Yes. What are the best practices for contacting the developer support team on the Amazon App Store? It's something that we said like two questions before. I mean, just have a Amazon developer account. Go to the website developer.amazon.com/support/contact us. I mean, we can post that URL later on the chat. And yeah, and you can, I mean, there is a template that you can use, a form that you can use to submit your question there, or you can use the developer forum. You can use the right side. I mean, on the right side of the developer forum, there is a contact feedback UI that you can, a feedback button that you can click on it, and you can put the feedback about your question that you have about the specific functionalities or feature that is inside of the documentation. So yeah, use the forum, use the contact us website from Amazon Developer App Store, and yeah, this is the main one.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super important to to when you have a problem to know what to do and how to take action. I think that all the testing and all the pre-testing and pre-submission tools as well help. Making sure that you're avoiding being surprised after you publish your application, and live up testing is also important. But sometimes there is strange behavior, or maybe some things that are not working properly.
Yeah.
Then it's good to reach out.
Yeah.
And even subscribe
Brilliant.
to the Twitch
Yeah.
channel, no? And the YouTube channel, because it can be that
Also
we have
that.
already the answer to your question. So like,
Definitely.
follow
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. There is an
Awesome.
interesting question from Jackie. Maybe Anisha, I don't know if you can take this one.
Yeah, of course. So I have this message in my developer console. Your app file uses an outdated SDK version that does not support DRM integration. Select DRM preferences below. And if you want to add support, use the App Store SDK. So this it relates to that upgrade to the App Store SDK that I was talking about. So previously, with the old IAP APIs and DRM integration, when you submitted your app and you uploaded your APK into the developer console, Amazon automatically would wrap your app and handle DRM for you. However, with this new upgrade to the App Store SDK, we are sunsetting in the future the DRM integration. So if you want to add support for DRM within your app, you will need to use the DRM API that comes with the App Store SDK. So again, we have a great video about this. I have to say it's great because I made it, but
Nice.
hopefully it is a good video.
It's a great video.
It is.
So if you want to check it out, I can push the link in the chat. It's very easy to integrate DRM, just a couple of lines of code, and then you will have to handle that support for DRM integration yourself. But if you haven't upgraded to the App Store SDK, definitely recommend doing so. We will have new. We will have. Sorry.
Go on. I was just
No,
saying
no.
that I'm posting the link on DRM documentation, so it's in the chat.
Awesome. And I will post the link to the video too. So check both out, and it should be pretty easy to integrate DRM by yourself. So definitely check this out.
Great. And I want to answer Adrian, because he's saying that is having some problems with the developer forum. So I think that the developer forum is also great. You can go and post questions there. My suggestion is that if you're not getting traction on the developer forum, go and submit a ticket to the contact us, because that's a separate mechanism, tracking mechanism. And usually it takes it's a bit faster. And if you're not seeing traction, DM one of the three of us on Twitter or LinkedIn, and we can try to get it escalated as well, as much as possible. Great.
Awesome.
All right. So meanwhile, let's see if there is any new question. Oh, great. Here we go. Are there any tutorials on how to use the app testing feature? Maybe Anisha, do you want to take this one as well?
Yeah, of course. So we have quite a few ways you can test your app. So let me start off with the first one, which is in-app purchasing. So if you want to test in-app purchasing, we have a tester. So you can download this from the Play Store. So you can use this to test your in-app purchasing. All the new App Store SDK APIs are also available to test with the in-app purchasing testing app. So you can do that. You can also test the old APIs and ensure that if you're testing, models for in-app purchasing like subscriptions, entitlements, these can all also be, you can make mock requests to the Amazon client to show how those would work. So you could use that. Then we have the web app tester. So another great one you can use to test your web apps, which could be useful, if you're developing for hybrid apps, or if you're just testing new features. And then we have the live app tester. So another great one for, as we said, testing with beta users or real users before your app goes live. So lots of different ways you can test your app, and definitely I recommend testing your app. Always test your app.
Always, yes.
100%. Never test in production, or to better say, you can test in production like environment using the live app testing.
Definitely.
Right?
Thank you, Anisha.
We need to get a
that's
T-shirt
great.
written with that written on it.
We
don't
should.
we?
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Kind of
Great.
a
Let's say,
similar
guys, again.
question we have.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go for it.
No, I was just saying, like, if there is any, please add the question, like, keep them coming from the audience as well. We love to hear from you. Even if you have any issues or problems, that's also great to know, because again, we can get back. So, does Amazon offer any device farm for testing? It'd be great to submit a package that can be auto-configured at your end to test on available devices and report back, or connect to a virtual device and let me do the testing. So yes, there is an Amazon provided feature. It's not specific provided by the Amazon App Store team or developers. So it's not something that we supervise directly, but it's supervised by the AWS team, and it's called the AWS Device Farm. And it does include both FireOS and normal Android devices. So you can use that. You can connect to devices and test your applications. But again, it's something that, if you need support on that one, you will need to work with the AWS team. If you're interested, let us know. We can always try to refer back to the AWS team. But it's a great service. Great. Is there any other question? I'm monitoring and see if there is other question from Twitter or from LinkedIn, but I don't see any for now. So I think we can crack on. Maybe with the next question that we had from developers.
Yeah.
I think there was a question about. Here we go. Oops, sorry.
There we go.
Okay. How does mature content or parental control affect the recommendation by your apps flow? I think this is like in regards to the Fire TV feature about recommended by your app. So I think that, I know. So this one is, we have an option in the console that where you can enable or disable the viewing restriction under parental controls. And if you're doing this, setting or enabling this restriction, you are able to suppress the recommended by your apps. So you will not see it. So it's pretty easy using the console.
Yeah.
You have something to add, Mario?
Exactly. It's a very aggressive feature. Is like, because we don't want even inadvertently to showcase inappropriate content for the if the parental controls are set. So if that is in the recommended by your app row, it's just completely removed. Great. There is another question, which is a question that we get a lot from developer using different databases, and a lot use Firebase. So can I use Firebase in Amazon App Store applications? Until a few months ago, my answer would have been that you need to re-implement your application using a different API or service, because Firebase is based on Google Play services, and Amazon devices don't have Google Play services. However, we have now in beta a new library which is called the A3L SDK. And A3L is basically it's an App Store independent abstraction library, and it really helps you write code one time and reuse the same time on multiple platforms like Google Play, and even for things like the Amazon App Store. So it provides basically a common interface that allows you to create a single implementation to rule them all, if you want. You build once, and then it's up to the library to determine the behavior for the respective the so-called platform specific details. Right now, there is one functionality that is covered by specifically in beta, which is the messaging SDK, which is used a lot for things like push notifications,
Yeah.
and A3L messaging SDK is the abstraction library specifically for cloud messaging. So again, right now is in beta. There's quite a lot happening in this space. So the only thing is that I can say is, go and check out this content. We have quite a lot of content coming about this. So again, watch this space, but this should already, be a breath of fresh air for anyone using, cross-platform or different platform, APIs and services.
That's great. That's great.
Great.
Because this, as for like in-app purchase, I mean, push notification is one of the most used feature for the developers, to engage the user. So it's really important we can provide something that has a good quality.
100%.
Awesome. We have another question around in-app purchasing and the App Store SDK. So this is probably a bit more clarification. So how do I migrate from my current IAP implementation to the App Store SDK? So to clarify, as a developer, you don't actually have to do anything to your implementation of IAP. So the App Store SDK IAP API will work exactly the same as the old IAP v2. So as a developer, all you have to do is make sure that you're upgrading your application to use the new App Store SDK, which should just be changing a couple of things in your manifest file and adding the new jar file to your application. You can also check out the YouTube video I posted earlier on how to do this. So yeah, definitely a good clarification. So thank you for posting that question.
So it's super easy to migrate between the two. Great.
Yeah. No, it really is. And one thing that again I think we need to always call out is that while right now even the old SDK still works, and I think Anisha, you did mention this earlier, and this applies both to DRM and in a purchase. We are working now with the App Store SDK, which will introduce over time more functionalities to both in a purchase and DRM. So there is a plan to deprecate, and we will share more in the future about when we're planning to deprecate the App Store, the old SDK, which works right now. So if you have an old application implementing EAP, it does work, but you should take action and improve and update your application to the App Store SDK, and leveraging the new implementation of some of the new APIs, because otherwise you might get caught into the into the deprecation. Which, don't worry, we will communicate in a timely manner.
On time,
But
yeah.
for sure. But it's always good to I would say future-proof your applications. So make
Yeah.
sure that you do take action on a purchase on this one.
One more thing is the App Store SDK is actually available on Maven. So you can also make sure that if you're using Maven, you have the latest updates, automatically. So you don't have to manually do it every time when you want to upgrade the App Store SDK version. So definitely use Maven. It will help you a lot to make sure your app is up to date.
Amazing.
Cool.
Wonderful. Are there more questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't see more questions from the audience.
Let's see.
Again, guys, please have them come in. I think we might have a couple more questions that we have in the back, but maybe we can do one more question if we don't see more coming through. Um, let's see. Anisha, why don't
Sorry,
we pick
guys. We are
one?
yeah. Let me pick one of the ones we get asked sometimes. So this is specifically around login with. Oh, sorry, posting it in the chat. So login with Amazon. So as developers, you probably wondering, does login with Amazon use OAuth protocol? So people, I mean, developers who are used to OAuth protocol, I'm sure you want to probably use it. So short answer is yes. Login with Amazon does use the OAuth 2.0 protocol for authorizing access to customer profile data. And if you want to know more about OAuth 0, they have their own documentation, but we also have our documentation on how to implement login with Amazon on our developer portal. Again, we've done sessions about this, so yeah.
Sorry.
So, that's okay. Anything to add
Awesome.
with that one, guys?
No, I think yeah, I think I would just encourage people to developers to go and check out login with Amazon. It's a great feature to make the life feed of your customer easier, in particular on Amazon devices, because with one click they can just like jump straight into the content and share their credentials. It doesn't use any password or anything because you're trusting Amazon to be the gatekeeper of the information, and it just uses the account that you already logged in, the Amazon account is you already logged in. So and it works across devices as well. So if you have multiple devices using login with and the same app using login with Amazon, if you logged in one and you already logged in the Amazon account on
Yeah.
the other device, it will log you in immediately, which is a great smooth experience for the customer.
That's great because sometimes, I
So
mean, I know
yeah,
from my past experience, it's really hard to like implement some login
Yeah.
feature by
yeah,
yourself. So like
and,
having
Yeah.
some
and
sort of services, right? Yeah.
yeah, I would say like I think the recommendation would be to have login with Amazon and maybe have a safe backup option. So for others for developers maybe to sorry, for customers to retrieve their password, to generate a password,
Yes. Hmm.
so they can access on devices. In particular, if it's a service that can be accessed on non-Amazon devices as well, where even though like in your application you can implement login with Amazon on Android, iOS, and on web as well. So if you have an
Yeah.
app and you integrate login with Amazon, it should be available pretty much anywhere. But
Correct. Yeah.
let's assume that
Mhm.
that's not the case for some reason in a specific version of your application. Make sure there is always a way for your um, customer to retrieve maybe or to generate a password on top of logging with Amazon, so they can then log in into that into a separate experience. Um, I don't see more question, guys. So I think that maybe for today's AMA we could wrap up. I see there's more people
Yeah.
joining, so I don't know if you guys have any question. Also, feel free to reach out to us and ask questions even on Twitter or directly DMing each one of us. I will maybe we can remove the banner so it shows our contact
Yeah.
details as well.
There we
And as
go.
you can see here, you can see mine here, which is Marius the one. And let me actually
Oh
add
yeah, we don't have
the
one.
here we go. Here we
We
go.
can
So
post it
on top
later.
here
Yeah. Okay.
now, you can see now all of our channel details where you can subscribe and you can ask questions and post questions, and we'll do our best to reach out to you and to try to answer your question. And again, keep in mind you can always contact Amazon through the contact us feature on the Amazon developer portal.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
next week.
Oh, next week.
So next week, we have a part two of the session we did before this AMA, which was submitting apps to the Amazon App Store. So I think last week we talked more about pre-submission checklists. Next week we'll be talking about how to ensure that your app, when reviewed, passes the review process. So things to keep in mind for the review process, and best practices. So if you have more questions about maybe why your app isn't being accepted by the Amazon App Store, join this session. We will go through do's and don'ts, best practices, optimizations, specifically around submitting your app to the Amazon App Store. Um, yeah, so we will be here again 6 p.m. GMT, 10 a.m. PST next Tuesday, live again. Not from the Spheres though this time,
no, okay.
unfortunately. But before we do close, I can show you guys a little bit of the rest of the sphere if you guys would like. So I will take my camera off and just pop it up. So as you can see,
Very
it's a
nice.
huge sphere. I'll stand up a little bit, and you know it's really awesome. Like we get to work from in here. It's open to the public. If you want to come check it out, if you're ever in Seattle. So yeah, a little preview of the spheres.
Amazing. Thank you guys. And yeah, super envious of you
Thank
guys
you.
being there. I'm sure that you will have a great time. Thanks for connecting from Seattle. And from me, a goodbye from rainy London. And I will see all of you guys. We will see you next week.
Next week.
See you guys next week.
See
Thank you for
you.
joining.
Thank
Guys.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.